Are you new to the programming world and you all been hearing about Python, data science, and artificial intelligence, but just don't know what it is and how to get started? Well, then you have come to the right place. Before starting, everyone, let me introduce myself. I'm Shazib Ali, Pakistan's youngest certified Python developer as well as data scientist. My motive of creating this playlist is to teach everyone about Python and data science. So if you're a complete beginner and don't know programming at all, then don't worry. I'm going to be teaching everything from A to Z in Python. Now let's first understand what is computer programming. If we look at the definition of computer programming, it is basically the process of giving machine sets of instructions to describe how a program should be carried out. Now these sets of instructions are often referred to as code, and the person who writes these sets of instructions is often referred to as a programmer. Now to understand more clearly, let's dive into my screen. So right now we are here on my screen and you guys can probably see this code in front of yourself. Now this code is written in Python and you guys don't need to necessarily understand that what this code does right now. So basically I'm just showing you this picture to tell you guys that how code looks like in Python, and the syntax, which is also known as the way the code is written, may vary from one programming language to another programming language. In order to understand how code typed by a computer programmer communicates with the computer, we need to first have a look at three things. Number one is source code, number two is compiler, and number three is object code. Now source code is basically plain text English code which programmers write, and programmers always write their code in a special tool called compiler. Now the function of compiler is to convert this plain text English code into binary or object code, or sometimes also known as machine language. Now you guys might have a question that why do we need to convert this plain text English code into binary using a compiler? Now you see that computers always work in zeros and ones. They do not understand alphabets or letters. They only understand either 0 and 1. And as a user, whenever you're using your computer in your daily life and whenever you're providing input from your keyboard, the input is converted into zeros and ones by a part which is called microprocessor in your computer. So as a programmer, you just need to understand that that programmers are required to write plain text English code in a compiler, and a compiler's job is to convert that plain text English code into binary or object code. As I told you that whenever you're providing input from the keyboard to the computer in your daily life, that input is always converted into zeros and ones by a microprocessor. Here is an illustration to help you understand more better. Now here we have a keyboard, and basically whenever you provide input from the keyboard, that input goes to the microprocessor in your CPU. Now the microprocessor converts that input into zeros and ones, and then you get the output in your monitors. Now it doesn't matter, it could be any input device such as cameras or mouse or scanner. The input is always going to be converted by a microprocessor into zeros and ones, and then you'll get the output whether it's your printer or your monitor. So that is basically how the source code communicates with the computer, and how do computers work when we provide them input from the keyboard. By the end of this video, you should be able to understand what is computer programming, how does the source code communicates with a computer, and how do computers work when we provide them input from the keyboard. And in the next tutorial, we'll learn more about what is Python and why should we choose Python out of all the programming languages out there in the world. And till then, Assalamu alaikum.